Okay, let's have a look at the answers to these puzzles. First, let's tackle the easy one. Black to play and draw. Can you remember the 5 ways to draw when you're not using chess clocks? Stalemate. That's when a player can't move any pieces and isn't in check. Weak army. That's when there aren't enough pieces left to trap the enemy king. 50 move rule. This is when a game goes on for 50 moves without a piece being taken or a pawn being moved. Repetition. This is when the same position occurs 3 times with the same player to move. Agreement. When the players agree to stop the game and call it a draw. And remember that if you can find a way to keep checking your opponent, then that will be a draw too, either by the 50 move rule, repetition, or agreement. It's called perpetual check. The ways to force a draw are stalemate and perpetual check. It looks like black is losing this game. White is about to give checkmate. And if black defends, white can give checkmate this way instead. So black needs a plan right now. As you may have noticed, the black king is stuck, as are the black pawns. Perhaps black can get stalemated and draw, or perhaps black can keep checking the white king with the queen to get a draw that way. But white's queen and rook are ready to defend and block, so that won't be easy. Looking for stalemate is probably the best option. Can we find a way to give up our queen and leave our king in stalemate? Perhaps you spotted this move while I've been babbling on. The only way for white to get out of check is to take the queen. And then it's stalemate. Black is not in check, but there's no move black can play. Okay, let's have a look at this one. Again, black is losing. And again, there's a way black can escape with a draw. And just like the last puzzle, black's king can't move, and the pawns are blocked too. But white is threatening checkmate. So black needs to act fast and get rid of these 2 rooks. Here are your possible moves. Which one are you going to choose? White's king is going to try to escape this way, closer to the white queen and rook. At the moment, the c3 rook stops this, so let's try and lose the other rook first. White has to take the rook. Now let's lose our other rook. Remember, we can't let the white king escape this way, so let's give check this way. If white takes the rook, it's stalemate. But now white has to take the rook. Stalemate. Black escapes with a draw. Final puzzle, and again we have to work out how black can escape with a draw. Again, black's pawns are blocked, so let's look for stalemate. At the moment, black is in check. There are 4 ways to get out of check, 2 choices for the king and 2 choices for the queen, but only one of them gets black a draw. The question is, which one? Well, these 3 will all result in a queen swap and white will win. Let's look at them. And white should win easily. White should win from this position too. And from this one. But the only other option leaves the black queen undefended. But can you see what happens if white takes the queen? It would be stalemate. Now the white queen can't move anywhere else because it's pinned, so white will have to move the king. Here leaves the white queen undefended, so white will have to move the king here. OK, now what? We know swapping queens won't work, so let's give check with the queen. If white blocks with the queen, black will just take it, so white has to move the king back. So black moves the queen back. We know that if white takes the queen, it will be stalemate, but if white doesn't take the queen, it will be draw by repetition. A big well done if you worked out any of those answers.